How have your political views changed as you've gotten older? I'm still waiting for the "you'll understand when you're older" come in. But here I am, still believing. 1. Taxes, as a baseline concept, aren't theft. You just have to make sure they aren't being used frivolously. 2. Homelessness is a symptom of larger issues, but until those get solved, we need to care for our less fortunate populace. 3. Healthcare is a right, not a luxury. If it is not a right, then it is the governing body saying that its people are expendable resources. Edit. People keep asking, how can you demand the time and training of nurses or doctors as a right? Simply put, it's easy. When there is a brush fire off the highway, I call 911. How do I have a right to demand the time, expertise, and training of firefighter to come out and put it out? Because the benefit for everyone outweighs the cost. We are in this together. If I didn't have the right to demand their services, even for my own property, then the amount of harm that can come to others or their properties as well becomes ever-growing. If healthcare isn't a right, then we end up where we are now. People not able to go to the doctor to get screened, or care for contagious disease. People ignoring a cough that won't go away, and they still go into work. They expose countless others to illness because they lack health insurance. Maybe they have insurance, but are unable to afford the copay or medicines. These people are ignoring health issues until they can't ignore it. Not being able to get annual checkups or treatments makes issues that can be treated easily into long-term, lifelong problems. We already have social services to help people who are unable to care for themselves, so why not prevent people from getting to that point if at all possible? It is easier and cheaper to set a broken arm immediately, than deal with the issues of it not healing correctly. Similar can be said for mental health. We have people suffering from a plethora of mental health disorders and unable to get treatments. People with these mental health issues normally make their own lives, and those around them, more difficult without proper help. Please excuse the reductive statement, big subject with little time. These people deserve to get the treatment they need in order to live strong and productive lives. People not being able to afford treatments that would fix a mild issue before it became a problem makes it harder for everyone else. Me demanding that the people around me have the right to be healthy, so I in turn can be healthy, is not a ridiculous ask. Since we are a society that profits, economically and spiritually, by the hands of those around us, then we should at the bare minimum make sure they are healthy. Like a lot of millennials, I've bucked the trend and have moved further left as I've gotten older. In my younger years, where most of my friends were experimenting with socialism, I was experimenting more with what we would call neoliberalism. Now that I've learned about how the 2008 financial crisis happened, and how few fucks most big companies give about anything that isn't their bottom line, I no longer subscribe to that bullshit. This is Reddit. You aren't gonna get anyone saying they have gone far right without being downvoted to oblivion. Not much really. I was always left-wing, and I am probably a bit more so now at the age of 64. I've become a lot more liberal, grew up very conservative and evangelical. As I graduated college, went to grad school, I thought of myself as centrist. Once Trump got the nomination over Kasich, I was done. Never a Hillary fan, but the day I woke up and realized Trump was president pushed me towards where I was already headed a lot faster. No more both sides. None of that. It became very clear that Republicans were the most dishonest players in the game. Since I have been labeled an extreme liberal by my family. Gotten less radical, but still on the same side of the spectrum. As a kid, I didn't understand the nuanced workings of society. I was progressive because I was in favor of being kind to people. Now, I'm a mathematician with experience in economic and anthropological modeling. Now I'm progressive because not only is it fucked up to treat people like shit, but it's also more expensive in the long run. I came to realize that if you truly want to see change happen, then you need to focus locally and let it work its way up and spread to other localities. The way people focus almost exclusively on federal politics is, at best, just wasting their effort watching things switch back and forth every 4 to 8 years and, at worst, will eventually result in a federal government that is too powerful as the states gradually cede their autonomy to it. More open-minded. Care less and less about the major issues as I get older though. I've come to despise the party system. It skirts accountability because citizens will allow ineffective policymakers if they play on their team. If anything, I've become more leftist. I'm 46 and consider myself a common-sense progressive, but things are getting a bit out of control and downright weird, especially in the last 10 years. I've found myself inching more to the center in some things. I went through a libertarian phase in my 20s. I grew up as I understood more about the world, matured, and realized more about the privilege that I was raised in. I realized how much of what I had was due to being lucky enough to having been born to parents that didn't have to work 2 jobs to get by. That because we were white, we were able to buy a house in a nice safe neighborhood near good schools. I became an avid reader because we were well off enough as middle class that my mother could read to me when I was a little girl. Because she didn't have to work. Lots of other kids didn't have those privileges, regardless of race. I would definitely call myself a leftist, not a communist. I'm not into Marxism. I am opposed to authoritarianism. Not into theory, but definitely anti-capitalist. A compromise that I might accept would be capitalism with guardrails like what Scandinavian countries have. Far from perfect, but there's a much better quality of life for the general family. And that's so important. I want all kids to be able to grow up in an environment like I did, if not better. I want communities. I want happy and safe people. Much more liberal since I've seen what the wealth gap is doing to this country. I used to be a hardcore conservative, now I hate all politicians equally. I've become more liberal. Gen X was always left and now I'm a fair bit more left than I started out. I've gotten way more left. Gen Z are here, and I've moved more left as I've gotten older. Military took me all over, so I think got a better idea of the bigger picture. Also, the right has moved way right, so I don't really think my personal views have changed in an extreme manner, but the spectrum slid over in the opposite direction.